Today's gonna be a twofer. You're gonna get double the information. The bakery that we had for 26 years, for about 6 of them, we also did keto. When we introduced keto, it literally doubled our sales. It was insane because we made really, really yummy keto treats. So today is a keto treat. I don't do these very often, but hey, if you know someone who's gluten-free, sugar-free, keto, low carb, would you please share this with them or tag them so that they can get it? It was our top-selling keto dessert. It is Tagalong bars. Now, what I mean by twofer is I'm gonna give you a ton of keto baking tips and tricks because, well, I have them and I'm happy to share them. When I went to the store today, you can see erythritol in the air. When I went to the store today to grab keto ingredients, I could not find or chose not to purchase some things. So stevia drops are amazing to have, not to use by themselves, but to add to. If you will mix your sweeteners, you get a less kind of aftertaste to it. Now, I love a powdered erythritol, which most of your monk fruits and things are gonna be erythritol based. And I could only get granular. I don't know if there's any way to show you like the texture of that, but it's like the texture of sugar. Since I couldn't find powdered, I put it into my food processor and processed it up till it's powdery. I don't know if it's quite as fine as powdered sugar. The reason is erythritol, when it comes back to room temperature after being baked, will come back into this kind of crystal form. And when you use powdered, it does it a lot less. Now you could probably use allulose also, but we used allulose for specific things like brownies and lemon bars, caramel sauces, things that needed to stay liquid. But for things that were just baking, we used a mix of monk fruit, erythritol, and stevia, and we always mixed the 3. So I just got this at Walmart. And then I opted not to buy the stevia because I only needed a couple drops. But if you're actually doing consistently sugar-free or low-carb baking, I would suggest investing in a bottle of it. So let's get baking. So the Tagalong bar is gonna be kind of like the Girl Scout cookie with a crust at the bottom, and then we're gonna have a peanut butter layer and then a chocolate layer. Going to start with 1 1/4 cups of almond flour. I find almond flour difficult to measure by like measuring cups, so I do it by weight. And so that you know, a cup of almond flour is 4 ounces, so I needed 5 ounces. And I've just found that that's the best, most consistent way because it's kind of like brown sugar and then it can pack way down, but you don't want it packed down. Anyway, then we're gonna do 1/3 cup of the sweetener. If you were going to use a few drops of stevia in it, you would use a little bit less. Going to do, so that was salt that I poured in. So I threw away all that almond flour and salt and replaced it now with the 1/3 cup of sweetener. And a pinch of salt is what that was supposed to be. And then I'm gonna do 1/4 cup of cold butter that's been cubed up. And we're just gonna process this to a crumb. And you just want to dump this into an 8x8 sprayed pan and press it down. We're going to pop this into an oven. Here's another keto trick for you. You always want to bake things at a lower temperature. I can't tell you the amount of times that we would open the oven and just smoke would come out, and that's because the erythritol would smoke at certain temps. So always kind of a little lower. 350 is typically my go-to. So I'm gonna do 325 for just about anything keto. This is the only thing we're baking, so as soon as this is done baking, it's like all downhill from there. This is one of the easiest bars and the most delicious. I'm excited to share it with you guys. So for our peanut butter layer in a microwave safe bowl, or if you don't have a microwave, you could do this over a pan. I'm gonna add 2/3 of a cup of peanut butter, or you could do 172 grams. I chose to weigh it out because measuring peanut butter isn't fun. So I put my jar without the lid on the scale and poured out 172 grams. So then when it said -172, I knew that I was there. For peanut butter, for any of our keto products, we used a peanut butter that the only ingredient was peanuts because that's going to have the least amount of carbs. This is the one I got at Walmart today. I wasn't particular on a brand, just something that the only ingredient is peanuts. You can see that there. I did the math on these while my crust was cooking, and it looks like if I cut it into 9, it's gonna have about 4.5 net carbs per. That's based on the ingredients that I purchased. Now, if you buy other ingredients that have different carbs, then your recipe may vary. But we're gonna take our peanut butter and we're going to add 1/4 cup of butter, and I just chop it up a little bit, and we're going to melt this. If you use natural peanut butter, you'll end up with lumps because it's always going to be thicker at the bottom and thinner at the top. And as much as you stir it, I have trouble ever getting it smooth. This is just shy of a minute in the microwave for me. I did stir it halfway through, but I now have a nice creamy, and it did take a little bit of stirring to get those last peanut butter lumps out. All right, to this, we're going to add 1/2 cup of our sweetener. Now remember, I took my erythritol and I powdered it down. If you choose not to do that, that's fine. Just use the regular. It'll be a little grainy, and maybe that's just what it is. A little bit of vanilla and 1/4 cup of heavy cream. I'm just gonna stir this together. All right, so on the crust, when I pulled this crust out of the oven and I tapped it, you can see how it's lightly brown around the edge. It was super, super, super soft, and that is because, especially on keto products, it is gonna firm up so much when it cools. That's the erythritol coming back to its original state. And so just kind of keep that in mind. So when it's lightly browned around the outside, it's just about 13 minutes for me. I'm at a high altitude, might be 15 for you. Anyway, we're just gonna pour our peanut butter mixture right on top of our cooled crust. I set my crust in the freezer because I'm in a hurry because I've already have to take this to in less than 2 hours. And then we're just gonna spread this out, and you wanna chill this about 20 minutes before we add the next layer. And for the final layer, you just take 3.5 ounces, which is like a heaping 1/2 cup of your favorite sugar-free chocolate chips. Now, we used Lily's exclusively for the longest time, and then Walmart got this brand, and it's a little bit cheaper. I did not see a noticeable difference between this one and Lily's. The other ones that aren't sweetened with like erythritol, monk fruit, and stevia, they're use maltitol and whatever else they use. I don't prefer them. If you do, use them. But I think that it's incredible and doesn't taste as diet with this. So anyway, that and 2 tablespoons of butter, and just microwave this, probably doing like 15-second intervals to get it nice and melted. This only took 40 seconds for me to melt. Whenever you're melting chocolate, keto or regular, you always want to stop when you have a few lumps still in there, and then just stir until they dissolve. And that will help you not overheat it where it kind of starts to seize up on you. So my peanut butter layer has set. And so pour this on and spread it out. Because the chocolate is so nice and smooth, you just kind of smooth it out, give it a few drops, and it just, look how gorgeous that is. So we're gonna let this totally set, and we're gonna cut them and try them. The bar's all set, came out of the pan beautifully. You can see the pretty layers inside. That looks like a little piece of erythritol maybe didn't get mixed in. Anyway, it looks like 9 is actually gonna be pretty big. I think 12s are probably gonna be a better size, and that's gonna make them more like 3 net carbs each. And again, that's based on your ingredients that you choose. That's net carbs. I don't know if I said that part, but this is what a 12th looks like, and I think that's actually really nice size, and for only 3 carbs. It tastes great. Like really, really good. Not good for diet, like good. Hope you try them.